The anime begins with a girl named Shirakawa, who is really popular and pretty at school. Then there's a boy named Kashima, who's known for being a bit mischievous. Kashima is very shy and doesn't have many friends. When he likes someone, he keeps it a secret. Now Kashima is in his second year of high school and just graduated. Interestingly, he ends up in the same class as Shirakawa. One day the teacher hands out forms for a parent meeting, and the students need to fill them out before going home. Kashima is so quiet that he doesn't have any friends in the class. Actually, he's not close to anyone at all. Meanwhile, some classmates are talking about dating Shirakawa because she changes boyfriends often. Shirakawa is brave and confident, which catches Kashima's attention. He wonders if he can be as brave as the other students. As Kashima is getting ready to leave, Shirakawa comes up to him and asks to borrow a pencil. At that moment, Kashima feels nervous but happily gives her his pencil. After Shirakawa returned the pencil, Kashima started to develop feelings for her. Later, he met up with his friends Ichi and Nichi. They had stayed up late watching a movie they liked, which got them in trouble with their parents. They were also worried about failing their exams, so they made a bet. Whoever got the highest score would get to boss around the one with the lowest score. When they got their exam results, Kashima had the highest score while his friends did poorly. They challenged Kashima to confess his feelings to someone he liked, expecting him to get rejected because they knew he could be nosy. Even though Kashima didn't have a particular girl in mind, he remembered Shirakawa, the girl he had recently fallen for. Reluctantly, he agreed to his friend's challenge. At first, Kashima wasn't sure if Shirakawa would even show up at the meeting spot. All he could manage was to leave a letter for her in his locker. But soon enough, Shirakawa arrived, making Kashima extremely nervous. He couldn't even bring himself to look at her face. Meanwhile, Shirakawa asked him why he had called her there. Nervously, Kashima decided to tell Shirakawa how he felt. He knew if she rejected him, he would have to move on. Shirakawa asked why he liked her and Kashima shyly said she was cute. To his surprise, Shirakawa accepted his feelings. She appreciated that Kashima had been brave enough to speak up. Plus, she admitted she liked him too. She even invited Kashima to walk home with her, leaving him stunned. Meanwhile, Kashima's friends didn't expect things to go so well. After school, they all headed home together. Kashima couldn't believe he was actually walking beside Shirakawa. But he didn't want to get too excited, fearing it might not last. He couldn't help but wonder why Shirakawa accepted him. After talking more, Kashima learned that Shirakawa changes boyfriends often because she wants to give a chance to anyone who likes her. She explained it's not because she's cheap, but because she respects those who are honest about their feelings. Basically, Shirakawa only wants to date someone who is truly sincere. But for now, she hasn't found that person yet. After they got on the train, Kashima escorted Shirakawa home. When they arrived, Kashima admired Shirakawa's fancy house. As Kashima was about to leave, Shirakawa surprised him by inviting him inside. Kashima was shocked, especially when he realized no one else was home. At first, Kashima was unsure, but Shirakawa assured him it was okay because they were now a couple. Inside, she led Kashima to her room while she went to get drinks. Kashima was struck by the beauty of Shirakawa's room and noticed an open drawer, curious to see her underwear. But when Shirakawa returned, she showed him her wardrobe, which had regular clothes, not underwear. This made Kashima nervous, especially when Shirakawa asked him to sleep over. At first, Kashima didn't understand, but Shirakawa explained that it's something couples do. Listening to Shirakawa, Kashima began to understand why she changed partners often was because she was willing to do things quickly, and many guys took advantage of that. Soon after, Shirakawa offered again, but with a heavy heart, Kashima declined. Even though he regretted it, he didn't want to be like those who only saw Shirakawa for her body. Then Kashima decided he would only sleep with Shirakawa if she wanted to, not because she felt pressured. In the end, they didn't do anything. Later, Shirakawa took Kashima home. She confessed she had never met someone as serious as him before. Hearing this, Kashima admitted that she was his first girlfriend. He realized he might not like any other girl besides Shirakawa. Shirakawa understood and offered to sleep together anytime Kashima wanted. Her feelings for him were growing stronger. Long story short, even though they are dating, Kashima still finds it hard to believe he's really Shirakawa's boyfriend. One day, as Kashima was about to enter school, he got a message from Shirakawa saying she was in trouble for being late. Kashima felt awkward replying and could only offer encouragement. In class, he worried when Shirakawa hadn't arrived yet, but she showed up eventually, saying she was late because she was getting ready. Later, Kashima told his friends about stopping by Shirakawa's house. They were shocked and thought he had slept with her. But Kashima clarified that nothing happened, which disappointed his friends a bit. His friends then reminded him to keep preparing himself because Shirakawa was very attractive and popular. They said he shouldn't miss this chance with her. Hearing this made Kashima feel less confident. When Kashima saw Shirakawa in class, she confessed she had dreamed about him. But they kept their relationship secret, except for Shirakawa's best friend, who seemed suspicious. As they started talking more and getting closer each day, Kashima began to feel unsure. He asked Shirakawa to tone down their interactions in public, because people were gossiping about them. He also wanted to know who Shirakawa had told about their relationship, and she said only her friend Yamana knew. Kashima had only told his best friend. To avoid more gossip, they decided to keep their distance of school. Soon after, Kashima asked Shirakawa to go out with them on Saturday, and she said yes. Later after school, Kashima didn't know where to take Shirakawa because he hadn't been on a date before. Then Shirakawa called him and asked about their date plan. Kashima was still confused but decided to take her to the movies. But when Shirakawa asked which movie they should watch, Kashima got even more confused because he rarely goes to the movies. Kashima also asked Shirakawa to pick the place since he doesn't go to town often. Basically, he wanted to do what Shirakawa liked. Shirakawa smiled when she heard this because it was the first time she found someone like Kashima. She doesn't mind if he decides tomorrow. The next day, Shirakawa invited Kashima to go shopping with her. She picked out clothes and Kashima thought they looked really nice. It was the first time he saw Shirakawa wearing such elegant clothes, and her beauty attracted attention from people in the city. At that time, Shirakawa visited many shops and bought a lot of things. Meanwhile, Kashima just followed along. After Shirakawa finished her shopping, she seemed happy because shopping was something she enjoyed doing. She mentioned that she often shops alone. But then, Shirakawa noticed Kashima and asked if he found their date boring. Kashima denied it and said he was happy to see her enjoying herself. He even guessed correctly what her favorite clothes were, which made Shirakawa blush. Then Kashima got worried when Shirakawa received a call from Yamana, thinking she might have to leave because of it. The next day, Shirakawa didn't respond to Kashima's messages, even though she usually enjoys using her phone. This made Kashima worry that something was wrong, and he started to think she might be cheating on him. His confidence dropped, so he decided to distract himself by playing a game. The following day, Kashima met up with his friends, and Shirakawa was also there, chatting with other students. Even though she was invited to play football, she declined. Also, Shirakawa only replied to Kashima's messages late at night, which made his friends think she had broken up with him. They advised Kashima not to hold on to hope anymore. When Kashima got home, he received a message from Shirakawa asking him to meet her at the park near the station. He hurried there, thinking she might have something important to say. But when he arrived, Shirakawa just showed him a phone case she had bought the day before. Shirakawa explained that the thing she gave Kashima was special, and you could only buy one with cash. She gave him another one too. She said she didn't reply to Kashima's message yesterday because her phone battery died while she was waiting in line. Kashima felt better, relieved that his relationship with Shirakawa wasn't over. But she thought Kashima didn't like the phone case. But then, Kashima said he did like it. He just didn't believe in himself. He was worried Shirakawa would break up with him, but she didn't. Kashima also said he was really happy with the phone case. Then, they walked home together. Kashima shared a story from when he was in first year junior high. He once told a girl named Kurose he liked her. At first, she seemed interested, but when Kashima confessed, she just wanted to be friends. Since then, he's been more confident around girls. As they talked, Shirakawa mentioned she admired her parents who got married after finishing high school. Soon after, a sports car drove by, catching Shirakawa's eye. She asked Kashima about it, and since he's into cars, he explained it in detail. Shirakawa was impressed and compared Kashima to a fast sports car, saying he provided an exciting experience. Kashima also praised Shirakawa for having lots of experience and friends. They raced home, feeling like they were in a competition. At that time, he became curious about Shirakawa and wanted to learn more about her. While at her house, Shirakawa received a call from Yamana asking about her relationship with Kashima. There, Shirakawa assured her everything was fine, but Yamana still seemed suspicious of Kashima. The next day at school, Shirakawa looked happy to see Kashima. Then a new student was introduced. It was Kashima's friend from middle school, who he used to sit next to, and the girl he once liked, Kurose. Knowing that Kashima panicked, worried she might bring up their past, especially now that he has a girlfriend. He plans to keep his distance from her. To Kashima's surprise, Kurose ended up sitting right next to him, which made him really nervous. Even more surprising, Kurose still remembered Kashima, but she didn't ask anything about him. As Kashima was leaving the classroom, he was stopped by Yamana. She invited him to chat over some food. At that time, he felt scared facing the tough Yamana. He wondered if he had done something wrong. But instead of scolding him, Yamana asked about Shirakawa's upcoming birthday next week and suggested Kashima celebrate it. He didn't know about it, so Yamana got upset. Yamana couldn't believe Kashima didn't know his girlfriend's birthday and questioned his commitment to Shirakawa. But then, Kashima assured her he was serious about their relationship. As Yamana was leaving, Kashima asked about Shirakawa's favorite things because he wanted to surprise her with a gift. Yamana agreed to tell him as long as he promised to make Shirakawa happy. While they were talking, someone took a photo of them together. The next day, Kashima got off the train and saw Shirakawa waiting for him. She wanted to talk because they couldn't at school. Surprisingly, she showed him a photo of him and Yamana from yesterday. While they ate together, Kashima explained everything and asked Shirakawa out for a date next week to celebrate her birthday. Finally, she understood that Yamana's meeting was about her birthday. Shirakawa seemed relieved and left first, saying goodbye. There, Kashima wondered if she was jealous. On Sunday, Kashima took Shirakawa to Harajuku, as Yamana suggested because it's her favorite place. She looked very happy there. Soon after, he took her to a boba tea place, which is his favorite drink spot. At that moment, Shirakawa really enjoyed it, so Kashima confessed he'd researched all the boba shops to try them out. Hearing that, Shirakawa was touched by Kashima's effort and knowledge about boba drinks. However, he clarified he didn't actually like boba that much cause he just wanted to find something Shirakawa liked. He even made a map of interesting places for them to visit that day. Shirakawa was impressed, as it was the first time she met someone as thoughtful as Kashima. Soon after, they went to another boba shop and kept trying drinks until the afternoon. But at the last shop, Kashima didn't order because he was full. Shirakawa offered him a sip of her drink, making him feel like it was an indirect kiss. Afterwards, they went home, and Shirakawa felt really satisfied with their day. Shortly after, Kashima wanted to talk to Shirakawa about Kurose. At the same time, Shirakawa had something to say too. While they were talking, Kashima noticed a man giving a gift, which reminded him that he wanted to give Shirakawa a gift. Unfortunately, he was short on money, with only 1,000 yen left. Kashima apologized, saying he couldn't afford to buy Shirakawa a gift. But surprisingly, Shirakawa said she wanted the map Kashima had made as a gift. She wanted to keep it because it showed Kashima's love for her. She even invited him to research more places together. She looked really happy to celebrate her 17th birthday with the perfect first day. The next day, rumors started spreading about Shirakawa. People were saying she was just using her boyfriend and taking money from him. This made Kashima feel uneasy, and he couldn't stop thinking about it when he was with his friends. Suddenly, Yamana showed up and scared Kashima's friends. There she asked how Shirakawa's birthday went, and Kashima explained that their date went well. Yamana was thankful, and Kashima felt grateful for Yamana's help. Now, Yamana was upset about the bad rumors circulating about Shirakawa, and she didn't know who was spreading them. Meanwhile, in class, Kurose offered Kashima some food, but he declined. During the lesson, Shikuos came closer to Kashima because he forgot his book. Then, Kurose brought up their past and teased Kashima about romance. Kashima confirmed he had a girlfriend but didn't want to tell Kurose. During break, Kashima saw Shirakawa talking to another student. When he eavesdropped, he heard the student confessing his feelings to Shirakawa. She politely turned him down, saying she already had a boyfriend. The student didn't believe her, so Shirakawa said her boyfriend was shy and wanted to keep it private. She appreciated having a loyal boyfriend and promised to do the same. Seeing Shirakawa handle the situation with grace, Kashima realized he shouldn't hide their relationship anymore. While doing his homework, his friends showed up and asked him to go home. Kurose also asked him to collect assignments together, but Kashima told her to go ahead. Unexpectedly, Kurose started spreading rumors about Shirakawa being ugly. Kashima knew Kurose was lying because he was Shirakawa's boyfriend and knew her true character. He felt angry, but Kurose didn't understand why. She didn't know they were dating. Finally, Kashima admitted he was Shirakawa's boyfriend, shocking the whole class, including Kurose. They didn't believe it until Shirakawa confirmed it herself. This made everyone realize the rumors were false. Soon after, Kurose ran out, followed by Kashima. He discovered Kurose was the one spreading the rumors. Turns out Kurose spread rumors about Shirakawa because she wanted to be the most popular in school. Surprisingly, she and Shirakawa are twins, but Kashima didn't believe it. Kurose explained they weren't identical twins. When she was in 5th grade, her mom divorced and Kurose went with her. After her mom remarried and then divorced again, she returned to the city. Kurose felt frustrated because Shirakawa had always been outgoing since they were kids, while she was shy and had trouble expressing herself. She wanted to prove herself by becoming more popular than Shirakawa. Unfortunately, her plan failed because her boyfriend, Kashima, was in the same class. Upon hearing all of that, Kashima understood Kurose's feelings because he used to be shy and insecure too. He thought no one would like him, but now he has someone who loves him. He believes Kurose can also find happiness. After that, Kashima went back to class, but Yamana stopped him. Surprisingly, Yamana was happy with Kashima's boldness. Later, Kashima and Shirakawa walked home together. But there, Shirakawa didn't fully believe his earlier statement about their relationship, even though he had been hesitant to reveal it before. Kashima also mentioned he couldn't ignore the bad rumors about Shirakawa. Shirakawa felt touched that Kashima cared so much about her, even though she hadn't been too bothered by the rumors herself. She was grateful for his concern. Kashima also asked about Kurose, and Shirakawa wanted to explain things to him. Meanwhile, Kurose couldn't stop thinking about Kashima, but she insisted she couldn't like him or she wouldn't stay popular if she was interested in such a nosy guy. Soon after, Kashima and Shirakawa decided to grab a bite at a restaurant together. She was happy that Kashima wanted to enjoy things she liked, so now she wanted to do the same for him. Then, she asked him about his holiday activities, but he said he didn't do much. This made Shirakawa suspicious that Kashima was up to no good. However, Kashima denied it and said he enjoyed watching live streams from a gamer named Ken. He started explaining in detail, which confused Shirakawa. Still, she wanted to watch the live streams with him, so they got closer. This made Kashima like her even more, and he wanted to improve their relationship, hoping to eventually kiss her. The next day, Kashima sought advice from his two friends. However, they were inexperienced and mischievous, so they couldn't offer much help. They said it was too soon for Kashima to kiss Shirakawa and suggested he start by holding her hand instead. The following day, after Kashima revealed he was Shirakawa's boyfriend, he felt a bit nervous because he knew people would be talking about him. But at school, everything seemed normal. When Kashima got home, he took Shirakawa on a date to Ueno Park. She was thrilled because the park always brought her joy, especially now with Kashima by her side. While studying, Kashima couldn't stop thinking about his plan to hold Shirakawa's hand, and he didn't realize the teacher had called on him to answer questions. Luckily, Kurose helped him out and Kashima was grateful. Meanwhile, Kurose hoped Kashima didn't dislike her. Over the weekend, they went for a stroll in the park. Kashima prepared to execute his plan by renting a boat. But before they set off, Shirakawa surprised him with a homemade lunch. Kashima enjoyed it a lot, which made her happy. Shortly after, Yamana messaged Shirakawa, asking about her cooking since she had suggested Shirakawa try cooking. After their failed attempt on the boat, Kashima was lost in thought, which made Shirakawa a bit suspicious. Eventually, Kashima asked Shirakawa to board the boat with him. However, his plan to hold her hand didn't work because she was very quick. As they sailed, Shirakawa noticed Kashima seemed down, thinking he wanted to leave her. Kashima quickly reassured her, saying he wanted to take another ride on the boat. They got on another boat, and Kashima tried his second plan. This time, he went up first and then reached out for Shirakawa's hand. Finally, Kashima succeeded in holding her hand. In the middle of the lake, Shirakawa confessed that she had always wanted to hold Kashima's hand. Hearing this, Kashima admitted he felt the same. They both realized they shared the same desire. Unexpectedly, Shirakawa kissed Kashima. After their boat ride, they walked home hand in hand. Shirakawa noticed Kashima's hands were cold, realizing he wasn't used to holding hands and was nervous. She joked that if they were sleeping together for the first time, they wouldn't be this awkward. However, they decided to start over and take things slowly to truly feel the depth of their relationship. Meanwhile, Kurose couldn't stop thinking about Kashima, even though he already had a girlfriend. At that time, Kurose came up with a bad plan to steal Kashima from Shirakawa. Soon after, Kashima and Shirakawa were seen studying together. Kashima was helping Shirakawa with her English, as her grades were not great. When Shirakawa reminded Kashima that next week marked their 1-month anniversary, she suggested going to the beach. Kashima agreed, making Shirakawa happy. After finishing the exam, Shirakawa saw a slight improvement in her score, though not by much. Meanwhile, Kurose felt jealous seeing them together. Then, when Kashima was washing his face, Kurose approached him and asked to be taught English too, knowing Kashima was good at it. However, Kashima refused as he already had plans with Shirakawa. Kurose tried to reschedule, but Kashima declined again and suggested his friend Ichi instead, which Kurose refused. In the end, Kurose asked for Kashima's contact. On Sunday, Kashima waited for Shirakawa. Then he received a message from Kurose, still asking to study together. Kashima declined, but Kurose insisted. Shortly after, Shirakawa arrived, and they left for the beach. Once there, they quickly changed into their beachwear. Kashima was amazed by how stunning Shirakawa looked in her swimsuit, finding her beautiful and attractive. They headed straight to the beach, where Shirakawa asked Kashima for sunscreen, which made him a bit nervous. As they settled on the beach, Kashima noticed other couples around, feeling a bit different from them. They enjoyed playing in the sea and then shared a meal together. Shirakawa was delighted with the sunny weather, but Kashima mentioned he had seen a storm forecasted on the news. While chatting, Kashima complimented Shirakawa's swimsuit, making her blush. Suddenly, the weather changed, becoming cloudy. They hurried to prepare to leave, but found the train service halted due to the storm. Both informed their parents and decided to rent a room for the night, opting for the same one to save money. When Kashima and Shirakawa slept side by side, they almost crossed a line. However, Kashima insisted they shouldn't, wanting Shirakawa to feel comfortable. Eventually, Shirakawa slept while holding Kashima's hand, and he couldn't help but admire her serene face. Meanwhile, Kurose still waited for Kashima's reply, feeling puzzled about why he chose Shirakawa. Soon after, she devised another plan. The next day, Kashima escorted Shirakawa home, hoping their relationship would last into the second month. Later, Kashima walked home, unable to sleep well the previous night. He planned to catch up on rest once he arrived home. Shortly after, Yamana approached Kashima and invited him to her restaurant to eat. During their conversation, Yamana asked about Kashima's recent date with Shirakawa. Kashima assured her that the date went well. Yamana then revealed that despite Shirakawa appearing confident, she actually gets jealous easily. Hearing that, Kashima nodded, acknowledging that Shirakawa often texted him every night, but he didn't mind. Shortly after, Yamana explained that this jealousy had led to rumors, causing trouble in Shirakawa's past relationships. Yamana then shared an important piece of information about Shirakawa's 2-month curse. Apparently, whenever Shirakawa dated someone for 2 months, the relationship would either end or become distant shortly after. Even if they dated longer, things eventually cooled off and ended. Realizing Shirakawa's desire for a lasting relationship, Kashima promised to be different from her past partners. He reassured Yamana that he would do his best to make their relationship work, earning her trust and calming her worries. As Kashima went about his day, his mind was still occupied with thoughts of Shirakawa. Suddenly, he received a call from Kurose, who pretended to be Shirakawa. She claimed to be playing with Shirakawa at her mom's house and asked to meet Kashima urgently. Her phone had died, so she borrowed Kurose's phone to call him. Kashima found it strange but agreed to meet at school, despite wanting to sleep. He felt responsible for Shirakawa's well-being and didn't want Yamana to worry. Shortly after, Kashima arrived at school in the afternoon and headed to the sports equipment room. There, Kurose asked him to do something inappropriate, which puzzled Kashima. They had agreed to wait during their beach trip, so this request seemed out of place. When Kashima noticed a mole near her eye, he realized it was Kurose pretending to be Shirakawa. Meanwhile, Kurose, pretending to be Shirakawa, called Yamana, claiming Kashima was her ex. Then Kashima became more alert when Kurose hugged him, so he immediately turned down her offer. However, Kurose insisted that Shirakawa wouldn't love Kashima, so it would be better if he chose her instead and did something inappropriate with her tonight. But Kashima still refused and made it clear that he didn't want to betray Shirakawa. Shortly after, the school guard noticed the warehouse door was open. Luckily, they managed to escape through the window. After that, they went to the park to talk things out. Kashima suspected that Kurose did this out of revenge against Shirakawa. However, Kurose insisted that she did it because she genuinely liked Kashima, especially after he scolded her for spreading rumors about Shirakawa. However, Kashima still turned down Kurose's offer, making Kurose realize that she had also rejected Kashima in the past. Nevertheless, Kurose asked Kashima to spend some time with her that night. The next day, problems arose at school when Kashima was accused of having an affair with Kurose because someone took a photo of them in the park the previous night. Kashima suspected that Kurose had intentionally framed him. When Kashima confronted her, Kurose denied it, insisting she wasn't that low. However, she admitted that if she had accepted Kashima before, they might still be dating. Shortly after, Shirakawa and Yamana caught Kashima and Kurose together in class. Shirakawa had heard rumors about Kashima and felt disappointed and cried. Soon after, Shirakawa left and Kashima intended to follow her, while handing Shirakawa his fallen cell phone. However, Yamana grabbed the phone and slapped Kashima for disappointing Shirakawa. A while later, all the students gathered for a meeting before summer vacation. However, Kashima didn't see Shirakawa there because she was still crying in the school garden. Back in class, Kashima couldn't find Shirakawa, so he was determined to solve this problem. During summer vacation, Kashima spent 2 weeks tutoring. Meanwhile, Misi and Ichi were at Chiba Beach when they accidentally saw Shirakawa with another man. They sent a photo to Kashima, who immediately rushed to Chiba, leaving the classroom. Kashima thought Shirakawa believed he was cheating, so she was cheating too. But when he arrived, he realized the man with Shirakawa was her uncle named Mao. Mao recognized Kashima as Shirakawa's boyfriend, as Yamana had just told him about Kashima. Later on, Mao offered Kashima a drink and suggested he take some rest. Meanwhile, Yamana still seemed upset with Kashima. Nonetheless, Mao instructed Yamana to head to work and assured her that he would take care of Shirakawa. Eventually, Kashima and Shirakawa had a chance to talk. Kashima confessed that his first crush was Kurose, and even though Kurose had confessed to him that night, Kashima's feelings for her had faded long ago. He emphasized his commitment to Shirakawa now. Concerning the photo of Kashima and Kurose in the park, Kashima insisted he didn't know who took it. Hearing this, Shirakawa felt relieved and thanked Kashima for his support towards Kurose. As twins, Shirakawa understood Kurose's sensitive nature and appreciated Kashima's kindness towards her. In the evening, Kashima was asked by Shirakawa to spend the summer at his grandmother's house. Shirakawa also suggested they could work part-time at the beach and attend a summer festival together. The next day, Kashima woke up to find Shirakawa waking him up. They started working at Mao's restaurant. At that time, Kashima got a package with clothes and books from his mom. He managed to study while working and tried his best, despite being new to the job. One day, Kashima saw Shirakawa being bothered by 2 men. He tried to help and Shirakawa introduced him as her boyfriend. After the men left, Shirakawa seemed annoyed because she often faced such situations. Kashima apologized for not being more protective, but Shirakawa appreciated his effort. Later on, Shirakawa spotted Kashima studying hard, making her believe he could get into a top university. She thought both Kashima and Yamana had clear goals, but she hadn't figured hers out yet. Still, she felt accomplished for finding the right guy in high school. Blushing, Kashima suggested Shirakawa must have other dreams. She admitted her true dream was to live with her parents in Kurose, but she knew it wasn't possible. Instead, she hoped to start a family with Kashima and lead a simple, happy life. Shirakawa's words made Kashima think deeply, feeling she was serious about him. Later, while he was showering, Kashima heard Shirakawa scream from the kitchen. She had run out of ingredients for the surprise meal she planned for him. At that moment, she planned to buy groceries and Kashima offered to go with her. After shopping, she asked him to hold her hand on their way home. They cooked together like a married couple. When they finished, Kashima loved the taste of the food. Meanwhile, Kurose just got home, and her mom told her that their grandmother wanted her to come home for the summer, because Shirakawa was there too. Kurose initially wanted to go right away, but changed her mind when her mom mentioned Shirakawa staying overnight with Kashima. Then she made up an excuse about meeting a friend. The next day, Shirakawa heard about Kurose from her grandmother. She realized Kurose must have skipped coming because of her relationship with Kashima. Last summer, they missed seeing each other at their grandmother's house due to urgent matters, so they hadn't met in 2 years. So Shirakawa was puzzled when she saw Kurose at school and hoped to reconnect with her. Kashima supported her idea of rebuilding their friendship during the winter break. Long story short, Kashima got paid by Mao for his work. Initially, he didn't want to take it, but Mao insisted it was fair pay. Mao then suggested him buy a gift for Shirakawa, since the festival was approaching. Soon after, Kashima went to the festival to find a present. When he returned, he was amazed to see Shirakawa in a yukata. Shirakawa's grandma then told Kashima to change into one too. The next day, they both went to the festival and enjoyed playing games and trying different foods. Shirakawa planned to buy a ring but found out it was already sold. Then, they headed to the shrine. Kashima mentioned it was his first time experiencing everything at the festival. Surprisingly, Shirakawa felt sad hearing this, because she used to do these things with her ex-boyfriend. She wanted to share new experiences with Kashima. But Kashima comforted her, saying all the moments they shared were meaningful. He explained that experiencing things with different emotions with her made everything special. Afterward, Kashima gave Shirakawa a gift. Surprisingly, it was the ring she had liked before. He explained it was a symbol of his love and commitment, marking their 2-month relationship. Soon, fireworks lit up the sky, creating a romantic mood, and they shared a kiss. Back at school, Shirakawa was chatting with Yamana and Akari. She then spotted Kurose but hesitated to approach her as Kurose left the classroom. Kashima, noticing this, realized Shirakawa was struggling to reconnect with Kurose. During break, Kashima invited Nishi and Ichi to join him on Saturday. He wanted to play war games with Shirakawa and her friends. On Saturday, Kashima and his friends were getting ready for a gaming competition. Soon, Shirakawa arrived with Yamana and Akari. There, Akari recognized Nishi from their class, and Nishi seemed a bit shy around her. Soon after, they split into 2 teams for a 3v3 match. Yamana teamed up with Nishi and Ichi, while Kashima was with Shirakawa and Akari. At that time, Kashima tried to defend his team and took out Nishi and Ichi but got shot by Yamana. Yamana then got Akari out, leaving only Shirakawa. They had an intense showdown, but Yamana ran out of bullets, allowing Shirakawa to win by shooting her. After a break, Shirakawa apologized for being a burden, but Kashima praised her for beating Yamana. Meanwhile, Yamana trimmed her nails to improve her grip on the weapon. She even switched to heavier guns for the second round. Despite being alone against Kashima's team, Yamana won easily this time. After the game, they were getting ready to leave when Shirakawa suddenly panicked because she couldn't find her moon and star earrings. Kashima offered to help look, but they were actually just in Shirakawa's bag all along. Kashima was surprised to see only one earring there. Later, they went to a tavern to relax. At that moment, Akari said she had a blast playing the game. Then, Ichi mentioned he enjoyed war games on his phone, confusing the girls. Yamana talked about her love for doing nails, confusing the guys. At first, Shirakawa was unsure about her interests, but then confessed she liked Kashima, making him blush. Then, Yamana complained about not having a boyfriend since middle school, surprising Nishi since she was popular like Shirakawa. Yamana felt embarrassed. Akari wished for a tall boyfriend like her idol, which made Ichi blush when he found out they were the same height. Afterward, everyone went their separate ways, leaving only Kashima and Shirakawa together. They decided to extend their date by going to the amusement park and riding the merry-go-round. While on the ride, Shirakawa mentioned how their situation reminded her of a scene from her mom's comic, where the characters eat chocolate and then kiss. Taking the hint, Kashima and Shirakawa shared a kiss. There, he told that her lips tasted like peaches, to which is because of her lipstick. Once off the ride, Shirakawa looked happy after spending the day with Kashima. They realized they had been dating for nearly 3 months. Kashima asked what gift would be appropriate to celebrate their 3rd month together, but Shirakawa felt hesitant to celebrate at school. To her, being with Kashima was the greatest gift because it was the first time she had truly felt love. Overwhelmed with happiness, Shirakawa ran towards the fountain. Seeing this, Kashima became determined to be a good boyfriend for Shirakawa. He started studying even more diligently. However, while at the tutoring center, he spotted Kurose and tried to hide. Just as he was about to leave, he bumped into a guy named Seikiya. Seikiya had graduated high school but hadn't started college yet, earning him the nickname Ronin. Soon after, Seikiya took Kashima to his shop and asked why he had tried to sneak out of class. There, Kashima explained that he wanted to avoid Kurose, a girl he had liked in the past who happened to be Shirakawa's younger sister. Now that he was dating Shirakawa, he didn't want any complications with Kurose. Hearing this, Seikiya offered to help Kashima while they were at the tutoring center. Long story short, the teachers at school announced a cultural festival and asked for student volunteers. At that time, Kurose and Shirakawa both raised their hands, making Kashima suspect they were trying to bond as sisters. Then, Akari raised her hand and invited Yamana to join, but Yamana explained she was working part-time. So, Akari suggested Kashima instead. With one spot left, Kashima pointed to Ichi. At first, Ichi hesitated but agreed because Akari was there. After school, Akari and Ichi started moving goods while Kashima, Kurose, and Shirakawa worked on making pamphlets. At first, it felt awkward because Shirakawa and Kurose hadn't talked since they met again. Still, Shirakawa tried to lighten the mood by suggesting a trendy and casual design for the pamphlets. After discussing the pamphlet design, Shirakawa asked Kurose for her opinion. But Kurose seemed confused because she wasn't really into trends. She admitted she only liked watching gamers' live streams. Hearing this, Kashima said he liked the same thing. Surprisingly, they found out they watched the same gamers and started chatting happily about it. Meanwhile, Shirakawa looked confused and Kashima noticed, feeling worried. During tutoring, Kashima couldn't stop thinking about how to bring Shirakawa and Kurose closer. Soon after, Seikiya arrived and understood Kashima's problem. They went to a shop where Seikiya showed Kashima a photo from his middle school days when he was popular and had a girlfriend. In that moment, Kashima was amazed by Seikiya's story. The next day, Shirakawa and Kurose showed each other their pamphlet designs. Shirakawa's was trendy and colorful, while Kurose's was minimalist and classic. Their differences led to an argument, leaving Kashima confused, especially when he was asked to choose one design. He actually preferred Kurose's design but felt uncomfortable since Shirakawa was his girlfriend. In the end, Kashima said he couldn't choose yet and needed more time to think. After that, Kashima talked to the homeroom teacher about the problem. The teacher understood, but Kashima still had to choose since the event deadline was near. This left Kashima even more confused, and he almost missed his stop on the train ride home from school. Coincidentally, Kashima bumped into Kurose, so they walked home together. There, he asked why Kurose attended their school. She explained that after her mom's divorce, she came back to the city and chose their school because it was affordable. She also admitted wanting revenge on Shirakawa. But Kashima's words made Kurose realize she was wrong and regret spreading rumors about Shirakawa. She felt embarrassed about it and wanted to make amends, even though she wished she could admit she was Shirakawa's sister. Hearing this, Kashima realized Kurose actually wanted to rebuild her relationship with Shirakawa, but was held back by the complicated situation. Long story short, the sports festival began. Shirakawa and Kashima ran in a race and won. Shirakawa's mom surprised her by showing up. Meanwhile, Akari and Kurose were getting ready to cheerlead. Akari complimented Kurose's sweet appearance, but when they were about to go to the field, Kurose saw her mom with Shirakawa and decided to leave. At that time, Shirakawa's mom told her she came to see Kurose cheer because she knew she had been practicing hard. But Kurose didn't show up, even though they were in the same class. So Shirakawa decided to look for Kurose with Kashima's help. However, Kashima found Kurose first and asked her to meet Shirakawa's mom. But Kurose refused, feeling too embarrassed to show that she and Shirakawa were siblings because of the rumors she spread. Then, Kashima tried to advise her, but Kurose didn't want his help. Soon after, Shirakawa arrived and overheard Kurose saying she didn't want to get closer to Kashima, despite his good qualities. Feeling hurt, Shirakawa left them. Later, the editorial team came to choose the pamphlet design. The editor liked Shirakawa's design, while the teacher preferred Kurose's because it suited all students better. Kashima was asked to decide, but feeling embarrassed, he chose Shirakawa's design. However, the teacher sensed he wasn't being honest and pressured him. Finally, Kashima admitted he preferred Kurosei's design, making the situation even more complicated. The anime will be continued. The moral lesson from this anime is never judge a pamphlet by its cover. You might end up with a design more complicated than a tangled headphone cord like Kashima's relationship.